Okay. Bob Marley, One Love. Um, First thoughts, I liked it very much. I liked it very much. It's a good film, nice film. I liked it. For me, I like that. I like how it starts, right? With what do you call? Like we start at that peace concert. So like in the trailer, and I like that the trailer kind of shows us a lot actually when you're watching the film. At least in the early parts of the film, it feels like the trailer shows you quite a bit of what's to come. It seems, um, and they have two different trailers, or I don't know how many trailers they have for it, but the trailer that I saw a lot, that one got me hyped up. There was a second trailer, and that one, like you can really change how the film can be like sort of thought of, right, with the trailer. But I think both trailers, for me, they stayed true to the message of the film, right? It wasn't like, I guess he was sort of like a political activist, or like he just wanted the unity. Like he saw maybe the influence and the power, especially since some rival opposition leader tried to kill him. That the power that he yield, right? The power that he that he could potentially have other people. I mean, I'm guessing with the Exodus album, this is when Bob Marley and the Wailers, and I like that it was distinct, right? It's not him alone; it's him and everybody else. And we see early in the film, like the beginnings, of the group, how they're all together. And I guess Bob Marley, maybe he sort of became the front man, or he maybe always was, or either that, or he became sort of the front man of the band. And then it was Bob Marley and the Wailers. Because when we get introduced to them, when they're it's like Jamaica Records, it says, and the gentleman that they're going up to him to ask for a record deal, like, hey, let me why should I choose you? Why should I want to work with you guys, right? Let you in my studio, make a deal, we make an album, and we work together to sell this. The how do you call, what was I thinking in my head? The gentleman that's with them, he introduces them as the Wailers, right? The film, I like it. I liked how it's paced. For me, the pacing was nice. I like how it's paced. And I like that we don't get we get flashbacks of his early childhood, right? We know that his father was a white man, and I knew this going into the film. I remember hearing that Bob Marley was half white, so that was interesting how they touched on that part. And it seemed maybe it sort of troubled him a bit, like, because he didn't know his father, right? So this side of him was a mystery, his white side, right? And we get this flashback of Bob Marley as a child, and for me, it had the inclination that perhaps his father had an illicit affair, right? That the woman that he's conceived Bob Marley with, right? It was a throwaway woman, right? Like it didn't mean much, or it was an affair that he had on the side. I don't think it was a white Jamaican man, right? It was probably maybe a British man, or maybe a guy here for colonial, because he was born probably during colonial rule, was it? Because when the time, it's like it's the 1970s, late 70s, and apparently what do you call? They tell you in the film the timestamp for it, but there's political unrest in Jamaica. And this is like the few years leading past the that's what I said, like a few years after the independence. Well, I guess it was in the 60s. So like only almost a decade now. Like there's some political strife going on in the country. It's still trying to find its way. And I like that they even show us towards the end of the film, they show like the two rival political leaders, like the two guys that are vying to be the prime minister of the country. And Bob Marley grabs both of their hands, he puts them together above his head, I think with his own, and he puts in the mic, one love, one people, right? It was one destiny. And it kind of rings true for the motto of Jamaica. Not the motto, the what is that? Oh my God, what is it? The saying, the motto, something like that. It's on the currency, right? It's on their coat of arms. It says, out of many, one people. And I have a Jamaican, I think it's the $5 or $50 bill from Jamaica. It's some bill from Jamaica where it shows a portrait of many different peoples in the back of it, to like emphasize this, right? We're not just a black nation. Well, we are, but we're more than that. We got a couple more, and everybody should be unified under one banner because we're all Jamaican at the end, right? It's our ethnic identity, transcends the racial, transcends any sub-ethnic or anything like that, right? So I like that. He was a champion for peace, and I guess he sort of died a martyr in some regards, perhaps, because he dies at 36, right? He got cancer. When he's revealed to have cancer, he has a toe that's injured, and he tells, I think, like, his wife says, "Hey, you gotta get that checked out. We gotta go to the doctor and get it checked out." Like, and he's like, "No, it's fine." After the concerts, actually, I guess after the European concerts, maybe not the African concert. That's another question. I wonder how many concerts he's done in Africa. In the film, they tell us he did one for Zimbabwe when they got independence, and I learned this yesterday, which makes sense, because I watched a video on the Rhodesian Bush War, which is Zimbabwe, right? Rhodesia became Zimbabwe. That country, what do you call, what was I thinking? Like during the Vietnam War, right, when the United States was embroiled in this Vietnam War over like late 60s, early 70s, I want to say, that this Rhodesian Bush War was happening, right? I mean, in the 60s in general, that's when we have a lot of like political unrest in the African continent in general, right? And a lot of political independence movements. That's where a lot of countries are getting it. Probably like not even just in Africa, but like a lot of these colonial possessions, right? At the end of World War II, come the 50s with the Cold War leading up to the 60s, and we're still in that Cold War. Like the Korean War, right, was in the 60s as well. It must have felt like, God, there's so much happening in the world, right? At that time, I think about like Gen X, like the Gen X, the baby boomers. It must have been sort of like there's so much going on in the world right now. And with all these wars, these political unrest, things are changing. But I digress, right? It's a little tangent there. The film, yeah, I like that. I like that. For me, they did a good job emphasizing like his, I guess his political, or not even just political, like just his stance on unity and being for the people, and which brokered a peace here, which stopped this fighting, this political unrest. I like the performance by the wife when they have their fight outside. And I like, it doesn't end the relationship, right? They're still together. We see later, he says, "Hey, I'm sorry about what happened outside the club." They had to take some time to have some space between each other. But I like that scene. For me, I like her performance with that. When he's, and he kind of beckles down. They're beckling back to each other, but finally he like lapses over. He sits on the car. The car even goes down right when he sits, of the way his weight. And she tells him, like, who is there? Who's going to be there for you? You got to think, who's going to be there for you? This marketing guy? I mean, he's here for the money, yeah, but, like, he's going to be there outside of that, And there's this gentleman, and we see, like, in the film, like, sort of the early first shots of the film, when Marley shot, another guy shot, I think he got shot 6 times, which is kind of miraculous that he survives this. But he's a marketing guy with him, and he has an American accent, right? So he's it's like he's got this American guy. I guess he's his manager. He even tells people like, "I'm his manager. I'm the guy that gets the shows and stuff." And when he does his Africa tour, or when he's planning to do it, rather, because we don't see him do it in the film, right? They tell us after the fact, at least with Zimbabwe, that he did a concert in Zimbabwe. That this gentleman, this American guy, he goes over to how do you call? What was I thinking of? To like set up like venues, to secure money, funds, to put the connections in place so they can happen. So that was and the wife tells them, this guy's broking deals behind, he's making backroom deals, he's pocketing money, just a heads up there. Like if you you got a little blind there, buddy. You got a little bit blind. I guess maybe this happens to a lot of musicians when they get in this industry. And she talks about this to him. She says, we told each other that we wouldn't, but like, this is an industry that maybe it can have a lot of snakes in the grass. It can change people. They can see only the money, see only the fame, the rich that gets to your head. We told each other that we wouldn't let it get to that point, right? And I guess for him that was like the wake up. He gets his diagnosis, I think, of the cancer not so long after this, actually, which comes as like kind of like the bullet in the foot, I guess you can say. It's and she tells her, like, why didn't you tell me, when you went and you got the cancer, why didn't you tell me, to help you have the, hold the burden of this, because it's something, it's a skin cancer, right? And when he tells the doctor, the doctor tells him, what it is. It's a skin cancer. It's not that your toe is like, that's the cancer itself. It's more like the, how do you call it? The fact that your toe's not healing. That's an indication. And that tells us, oh, okay. And then I guess it's confirmed it's this skin cancer, particular type of skin cancer. And they tell him you can cut your toe off and maybe stop it from spreading, but I guess it's there. And perhaps in that he tells Bob Marley, it's the genetic, is it in the family? And he tells him, that I liked when he tells him that his father is a white man, right? His father was white. And the doctor's face is kind of like shocked, like he kind of had like a little disbelief face. I thought that was cute and kind of funny. He's like, oh, really? What? Oh, okay. I like that the band, they like run together. And they run in the first shot when we're in Jamaica, we see them do this, like in Trenchtown, which I'm guessing that scene where we're in the streets, the one scene we see it a couple recurring times. I guess it's Trenchtown that we're in there. And when they go to the UK, when they go to England, and that's where they film. That's where they not film. What's it? Well, I guess maybe they did film footage too, but that's where they shot the recorded. That's where they recorded the Exodus album. Which, if I'm gonna have my 2 cents here, I'm just jumping to the conclusion, but I think this album is what truly perpetuated or shot him into fame. If I had to guess, that the Exodus album was, for context, like it was the breakout album for them of Bob Marley Wailers. It's what put them on the map, right? It's what put them to be seen, was this album in particular. And then, so yeah, when they go to England, London, they run as well. And now this guy that used to work with Stevie Wonder, that he joins in with the Wailers, right? He joins in on their band. And I like when he's on the couch sleeping and somebody throws some object at him and he's like, hey, wake up, right? Like, if you're gonna be with us, you're gonna run with us in the morning. We're early birds. We get up early. We don't sleep in, none of this, right? I just had something in my head that I liked about the film. Another scene that I liked. Maybe I'll find it later. So there's also this one, and I guess this was done to show like he was maybe in some infidelity on his end. His wife even says this in their fight when they're fighting the outside of the club scene. That what do you call? What was I thinking in my head? That some of the children, right, that she's there raising. I couldn't really get all the what she's saying because of the accent, right? But she kind of mentions like, some kids there, they're out of wedlock. Some of the children there, they're born out of wedlock of her, right? Like they're not like, they're bastard children from other women. They're not they're not mine. I'm caring for them, but they're not my blood. They're just of you. And he has a lot of kids. I think he has like six children. We even get an introduction from his son. I think it was Ziggy Marley, I want to say. It's we get an introduction from his son in the beginning. That he was with the film production throughout to ensure that the film was, that it was accurate, that it stayed true to his father's image. That was nice. I like that little insert, and the 3 title cards about him, about his childhood and how he was born in St. Anne Parish, rural, but then he moves to Jamaica and he grows up in Trenchtown, as they even mentioned, which is like kind of like the poor. I don't know if it's the poorest or like just one of the poorest. It's like an area infamous, right, in Kingston for crime and poverty, just admired in it, right? What was I thinking? I was thinking of something furthermore outside of what I was just saying. Oh yeah, the woman. So there's this woman, and we see her like the first time in the studio in the background. And I thought maybe we'll get some backstory on her, like who she was. Because in the trailer, there's a scene where there's a door opens and we see her face. And for me, when I saw it in the trailer, it sort of indicated that perhaps this was a pivotal moment in the film. And So I guess everything was good with it, but this part, I guess, is my gripe. Like, well, who was this woman? And I think she has some importance because we get some shots that kind of like linger on her, right? That establish her presence. It's like a mixed race woman, right? A mixed race woman that's there. And there's even this other scene with this lady when Bomb's on the phone. He's on the telephone in London talking to his wife. She's in New York, right? And he's telling her, hey, I want you to come to England. You know, I want you to come with me and, you know, help me write this album. Which I guess the kids maybe stayed in New York with his mother, I guess. Because his mom lives in New York. And what was I thinking of in my head? Yeah, this lady's outside. We get a shot of her. Like, we can see her in the background blurred up. But we know it's her. And she's waiting for him. And then we get a scene where it's like straight, her silhouette, like her, and she's smoking a cigarette. It's her standing. And I thought, like, okay, for sure we're gonna get some intel on who this lady is. Like, who is she? Maybe if you know about Bob Marley, you'll know who this woman is. And it's because I went in blind. I didn't know much besides his name, that he was Jamaican, that he was very famous. You know, I heard like maybe 5 songs maybe. I didn't know much about him, right? And what is it? There's this montage scene where it's when they're doing the European concert scene, where they're having this flash of what you call like countries that he's performed songs in. It's West Germany, Denmark, Sweden, Paris. How do you call? We get a scene of her, like it's that scene in the trailer when the door opens and we see her, but it's just that. It's just her face, like a door open and she's standing there. And so I guess I'm a little disappointed with that because I felt like maybe we would have, I felt like again from the trailer, that she would have had some sort of importance to the film, that she would have, there was something more to that character, like we're introducing her because she was a pivotal moment. And I guess in my rationale of it, maybe it's to subtly hint at the infidelity, that he wasn't a faithful man. You know, this is just one, you know, everybody's perfect, and this was maybe one thing that was a demon for him. I like that his religion is emphasized in the film, the Rastafarianism, and he points to his heart. He said that Rastafari, and well, I guess when he leaves, and we get this I think it's true in Jamaica, like Rastafarianism is like condemned in Jamaica because I'm mistaken, marijuana is illegal in Jamaica, and these people that practice the Rastafari religion, they use marijuana as like religious medicinal medicine, right? It's not just about getting high, it's to help them, like it's part of their religious practices, right? Religious worship. And so he gets taken in by this gentleman, or like he sort of like mentors him, like he introduces him to Rastafarianism, and I like that we see him when he goes to the Strawberry Hill, which apparently it's like a really famous location, the famous Strawberry Hill retreat house that Bob Marley would go to, which I guess is like outside of, in the Blue Mountains, outside of Kingston, I guess. It's it has to be, because there's even a scene where we're at the house and we're looking out towards, and we can see like it looks like we see like it looks like maybe the concert's gonna be held, like this really bright light in this sea of like the city. You can see it's Kingston, right? What was I thinking of? Rastafarianism. I like that when we get the shots of him and his wife, Rita Marley, when they're young, right? When they're young adults, and their little romance. It was cute. I like that he tells her, hey, the police like to lock us Rastafaris. They like to, shake us Rastas, lock us up. You sure you want a guy like me? Because I'm not, this is me. And she tells, like, no, like, I like you for you. You complete me. I feel I complete you. Like, we're together with this. And so that was cute. I think, they did a good job of, like, for me at least, like, showing his religion, right? Like I said, it was important to him. And like, he was a Christian, right? I guess the Rastafarian, like, ties Christian beliefs into it, right? And we could say it's an offshoot of Christian or whatever. So that was cool. I like the scene where they're in the room, and there's this American, like, it's oh my god, what's his name? Charlie? It's some guy. Maybe his name was Charlie. Let's just call him Charlie for now. It's the marketing executive guy, and he just has this American gentleman with him. He's a young guy too. You can see he's a young person, and because they named the album Exodus, and we know like from the beginning, the Bob Marley, like one of his guys, one of the Wailers, one of the bandmates, right? He's drawing an album. He makes an album cover, and it's like it was very busy, right? That's what they say when they have this more simple version where it's Exodus and it's written in like Ethiopian. It's in English, right? Exodus, but it's written like Ethiopian fonts, and it looks like it's kind of gold too, or like gray, but like you shine it, shines gold. And the American guy is like this is the this is the album cover, right? They're not excited for it. This is it. This is just Exodus, and then top bomber and the Wailers on top, and then gray blank background. Like that's the album art for like that's what you want it to be, because we see the old one where the guy shows Bob it, and Bob's like no, he's not feeling it. It's too busy, and even the guy reiterates it when he's in the room, right? And they're talking about it. He's like, yeah, the old one was too busy. It was like I had too much going on the cover. We felt so we had to downgrade it, right? We had to simplify it up a bit, and so this is the new end product right here. And it's kind of straightforward, simple. Just tells you the name. This is the people who made it. That's it. That's all you gotta know. And the American guy, he's like, I'm young. I had to do the religious stuff when I was young, and young people, we just don't care about religion. Like we're not gonna care about this, and everybody just, silence in the room. Some people, there was a kind of funny scene. People were laughing a little in that scene with the, but it's like his concerns aren't valid. I feel, because like he tells Bob, we have to sell records, right? The idea of you get the deal isn't just, people love your music, and that's good, but like it's a business model. These people want a return on their investment on you. They do want, you need to sell something, and but Bob says that, we don't have to listen, let the people listen to it, and they got to decide ultimately if they like the music or not. You can like it, but they need to decide they like the music, right? It's so I like that, and I like that and this is something throughout the film. We are obviously they're Jamaican, and they have the accent. It's thick. Perhaps they're doing some Jamaican patois and mixed in their vernacular. And so as a person that's not of this ethnic background, that didn't grow up listening or didn't grow up hearing much of the speech, it is sometimes I words and phrases are missed by me, right? They go over my head. And I like that we don't get no subtitles. We don't get any and there's no just speak how you speak, right? Don't try to clear up your English, change it up. Just speak how you speak. And I like that. For me, at least. Maybe some Jamaicans, they watch this. This is me. Like if you're Jamaican, you watch the film, comment below if maybe you notice a difference in the vernacular, like if it was more clear, or like, hey, those are some words. Like, if you probably would say these lines, you probably wouldn't really say that. But it's a film, audiences, you want them to understand. It's like wind blowing, unless it's my car. So yeah, I thought that was cool. I like that. And I like that the American guy, he kind of like a little ode for the audience, I guess. A little relation to the audience when Bob says something about the album, or like he answers a question or responds to what he said, and he doesn't catch it, and he says, "Oh, I'm sorry, what did you say? Can you say that again?" Right? It's because again, right, he's got an accent. He's Jamaican, and he speaks how he speaks, and I like that we just have them speaking as they would speak, right? I don't know, I like that little excerpt in the film like that. Even if there are times that I couldn't understand fully what was being said, or like sometimes the word, and people are talking fast, I'm like, he said something, I guess it was important, I don't know. What else? I guess that's it. That's all that comes to mind at the moment. Only gripe with the film, I guess, would be that scene of the mixed race lady, right? The lady that, and the actress looks familiar. I'm gonna look it up because I feel like I've seen that actress before. She has a very unique appearance. Her eyes are like green in color. Because we get some shots of her. We don't have any speaking lines from her, but we get shots of her that for me it outlines that she has some importance. She's not just a random woman that happens to be in the studio when they're making the music, right? And it just would have been cool to like maybe get a little more context with that. I feel like for me, I think it's supposed to be a hint of infidelity. I think that's what it's supposed to get at. And what was I thinking of? I'm guessing that if you know about Bob Marley's life, you did like an autobiography on him, you know a little bit more about him, then this lady, she'll have some more significance, or you'll know the significance of her, right? So yeah, Bob Marley, One Love, I liked it. Liked it very much. Thought it was a great film. And it didn't feel too long. This movie didn't feel too long. I think it ended about 9 something. Maybe it's like an hour, almost 2 hours, or like an hour or something. Like it didn't feel too long. It didn't feel, the runtime was nice for me. It wasn't a film that overstayed its welcome. Didn't, I think it did enough for what the time had. At least for me, in my opinion, it did. And it's I like the pacing, right? And kind of just reiterating. Ugh, sorry, I can't even speak sometimes. When I think about it, but yeah, I liked it. I liked it very much. The film gets a 5 out of 5 for me. If you listen to this review, took shots of all my right? You know, thank you for listening, and until next time, I guess.